Hello, everybody who may or may not watch this. I'm Buck. I'm with General Spades here,
How's it going?
and we're taking a look at the Mexican civilization. Now, we have both watched the trailer, but the trailer or the Civ overview that popped up on YouTube, but that overview video showed a lot more than it actually told. So I have taken screenshots of pretty much every single tech in the entire video, as well as all the unit stats, and put them in this little presentation here. So we're going to take a closer look at them than what the trailer was actually showing, as well as several notes and predictions that I and General Spades has going into this. Also, that's my new thumbnail for whenever I'm playing Mexico, because I'm going to be playing some Mexico, you can bet your ass. Alright, so here is just a screenshot I took of the Explorer, the General, that it has. It is identical in stats and abilities as the United States General. So if you're familiar with that, then you're familiar with this. So here we have the four unique units that they showed off that are like the four like main trainable units that they showed off in
My guess with these is gonna be more like what is it, like Hausa and Ethiopia, where basically every unit has a unique name even though they function the same. So there's probably more units than these
right.
unique units, but these are the ones that they showed, right?
Yes. So the Saltidor, or however you pronounce that, is a skirmisher type, and it has 17 base damage in Age 2, which is really high. It's that's one less than Cassadors have at base in Age 3. They have 110 HP and 30 range resists, but they can also go into stealth. So as far as I'm concerned, they are like probably the best skirmisher in the game, just on paper.
Stealth skirms are dirty.
Stealth
Just gonna
skirms
throw that out there.
Age 2 with 17 base attack. That's insane.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's gonna be really good to pop up and take like a rush by surprise and just build, those, and then all of a sudden you think you're in their base destroying all their, buildings and whatnot, and 20 stealth skirmishers pop out from behind you and tear you all down.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh, that's
that's
gonna
gonna
be
be
good.
dirty. The Insurgente, or the Insurgente, I don't know,
That was
is
very Italian, not Mexican.
same thing. Uh,
Hopefully we get Italian soon.
they got 5.5 movement speed. They're kind of squishy. They have a multiplier against cavalry. They remind me a lot of Rodaleros, except that they cost only food and they train really quickly. So they're like a cheap disposable unit you're supposed to put on your front line.
And they have 90 health.
90 base health. Yeah. There is actually some other note I noticed with them when I was looking through some of the screenshots, so we'll just keep the Insurgente in mind. Over on the bottom left is the Soldado, which is an Age 3 Musketeer unit. That is absolutely beefy. I mean, look at those stats. That's 300 base HP with 36 base ranged attack. For reference, veteran Musketeers have 180 HP and like 29 attack.
They got to be pretty expensive.
Yeah, they have to be super expensive. In fact, the trailer did say that they were very expensive. So this is one of those things where, like, if it's the end of the game and you let Mexico boom off to where that they can like mass these, it's going to be game over pretty much.
They're the new Carolians.
They're the new cuirassiers, but in musketeer format. And then the Chinaco over on the bottom right, I don't know if I'm pronouncing these right, is
Close enough.
is a hand cavalry that looks kind of underwhelming. They're kind of just there. I do notice that they have a multiplier against cavalry, but they have less base HP than a normal Huss, less base attack than a normal Huss. What the trailer did show off though was that because they have lances, their hand attack range is actually pretty decent. So I'm assuming that means you won't have to worry as much about about the enemies trying to fold on top of each other. They can kind of just attack over each other to hit the dudes that they're trying to hit. So maybe that's where their strength comes in. But
What is that negative multiplier against?
I believe that's heavy infantry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They got 1.5 times multiplier against. Is that a skirmisher
All
type
infantry.
unit?
All infantry.
Okay, and the 0.67 against heavy negates
Yes.
that.
So they're kind of like sours, but less glass cannon. Is what I'm.
290 health
kinda
is not
seeing.
bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got a bonus against like skirmishers and infantry, but that bonus is negated against heavy infantry like musketeers. Got it.
Exactly.
And 1.34 times cav.
So these are their 3 outlaw units. The Cuartero, or the Cuartero, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Cuatrero?
Yeah, Cuartero. It is the Mexican version of the cowboy, and the stats and attack damage is all completely identical. The only thing that's changed is the big game hunting charge attack, which the Cowboys, their charge attack is double the damage of their main attack. And for these guys, their charge attack is the same damage as their main attack, but instead it's AoE. And
Which
that
is fantastic.
It is fantastic.
AoE
Dragoons. That's what these guys are. AoE Age 2 Dragoons. That's incredible.
So on to the banditos then.
Yes, the Banditos are replacing the Ageups. Now, interestingly enough, the actual range stats, the range attack stats of the Bandito is actually smaller than that of the Ageup. Ageups have 20 base attack, and these guys only have 18. Other than that, their stats are identical. But the Bandito has the ridiculously OP-looking charge attack that does 18 siege damage, getting around both melee and range resist with 5 area of effects.
Which just now seeing that. That's insane.
Insane. Yeah, it's super insane. And if this doesn't get nerfed immediately, then I don't know what will.
Well, we'll have to see what the recharge time on it is as well, too.
They're probably all 30 seconds, just like the United States ones are.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Because it's 5, yeah, you get a massive, even 5 or 10 of those with that 5.
And then after refreshing beverages.
5 area of effect, yeah.
Then after refreshing beverages, that'll go down to 10. And then the Desperado.
They are pretty slow, though, for speed.
The Desperado is replacing the Gunslinger. And as far as I can tell, it's the same unit with a different model. Straight up. I can't tell the difference between these guys and Gunslingers.
The 110 health on the Banditos is not great.
It's not, but it's actually pretty standard.
Speed, so they're slow and.
That's actually pretty
weak.
Standard for Age 2 Musketeer stats, or for Age 2 Skirmisher stats, believe it or not. And 18 damage is high for an Age 2 Musketeer. It's not 20. That's really high for the Ageups, but it is high. So now we have the federal states. We've been over the units, so I was just going to go straight into the federal states. Now, there's actually 2 pictures here that are layered on top of each other. These are showing both of the shipments that they got showed for. We got shown all the shipments for 2 whole Age 2 states. So this first one is for Tlaxcala. I don't know how to pronounce that. And
I can't help you because I can't really read that.
What I have noticed is that all 5 of these Commerce Age Federal Age ups give you a military wagon, which is really cool. United States are a little different, where the 2 on the left will give you a military wagon, the 2 on the right will give you an outpost wagon, and the 1 in the center gives you 300 food. So it's kind of weird. But this is really solid, because no matter what age up you pick, you will always have like a barracks or a stable.
That's huge too, because that saves you a lot of time. Build your seconds chopping wood.
It does.
Time spent gathering resources to make more units.
So for the Tlaxcala, Both of their shipments are pretty neat, I think. It's kind of turtle based. One is a native embassy travois, and it enables Jesuit and Meseo-American. I'm not really familiar with the Meseo-American at the native embassy, but I am familiar with the Jesuits.
Might be a new one.
Might be a new one, that's true. The Jesuits give conquistadors, I think, is their unit type, but they are dragoons, H2 dragoons. They're pretty solid. They're kind of similar to cowboys, except without the charge attack. But they also have a tech that boosts building HP. Because I was thinking about the techs that Jesuits have, because United States have a very similar card in their H2 that allies you with the Cree, which enables you to train Coureur de Bois and get a 10% boost to all your land military. But this is 25% to buildings, so that could be a pretty solid card for turtling up against somebody with high siege. Or if with low siege, just say fuck you, like Lakota.
Yeah, and it could be a Dutch kind of turtle in that sense.
Yeah.
Especially since you get the military wagon, so you don't have to spend that wood, and you can spend that wood making walls or whatnot.
Now, they are talking about the Haciendas here in the other card. Each existing and newly constructed Hacienda spawns 3 settlers. Those, as you probably are already aware, are what replace the mills and estates. You thought rice paddies were good. Think again, because Haciendas are like rice paddies where they can do food or golds, but they can also house settlers from raids, so you don't even need to walk them over to your town center.
So nice.
And
they're like the villages from China,
the
which I hate.
Why can't I think of it? The video did mention that you could get various upgrades through cards that would enable them to attack with if there is settlers inside of them, just like a town center, or make settlers just like a town center, and you'll actually see both of those cards later down the line, as well as train military units, which is really cool, to the idea of training military units outside of your mills. But unfortunately, we don't actually get to see that card, so we don't know what age that is in. So yeah, this is one state with the Tlaxcala, which is kind of turtle focused. And this is the same picture, but with screenshots focused on the Durango state.
Still age 2.
Yep, these are both age 2. One is, this is the one I was talking about, where it ships the Hacienda wagon, and they gain a range attack when villagers are garrisoned inside them. Just exactly what I was talking about. And the other one is a really interesting shipment. It arrives in 5 seconds, deposits 350 coin, and exchanges all your current wood for 50% more coin. Now, this, some of you guys are probably familiar with the United States card Boston Tea Party, which is the exact same card, but it exchanges food for coin and only 25%, which is fair because food gathers like way faster than wood does.
And there's a bunch of other cards like this. I mean, this probably is more of like a treaty thing. These cards are more popular in treaty just to get a massive amount of resources.
I actually use these cards because the 350 and the fast time. I actually use the Boston Tea Party with United States because it arrives in 5 seconds. So if I age up with Massachusetts and put down a military building, like even a stable or something, I can very quickly get all the coin I need to get a large massive hussar and just focus on food and train almost instantly. So I think it does have some H2 viability because that's what I've been doing.
It could, I mean, it definitely probably would come in handy, probably, in Fast Fort.
No, in Fast Fortress, in my experience with the United States, it's always been better to just ship the 700 coin, because you're not going to gather enough food to age up in 5 seconds of getting your age 2.
That's true, but, we'll see.
We'll see. And those are the two. Those are the two for the Durango. Unfortunately, we don't get to see any of the other age 2 federal states, but we do get to see 3 different. I should have enlarged that. We do get to see 3 different shipments from 3 different age ups into the Fortress Age. This one right here is Ship 7 Vaqueros, which I don't know what Vaqueros are. It's a unit that we haven't been shown yet. And
It looks like
and it enables
enable.
them to get food from herdables and huntables. It reminds me a lot of the Black Mesa card United States has, where you get gunslingers and enable them to get mines. It's a totally worthless card, but who knows? It might be more valuable here.
Or what is that unit that the Ethiopians have that builds mountain monasteries? I'm blanking on the name right now.
Griots? No.
I think so.
Aubans.
Yes. Could be similar to that.
It could be similar to that. That's very true. But this one's kind of a mystery. Over on the right side, we see another Hacienda wagon, and enables the Haciendas to train settlers.
That looks like it could be like an Ottoman type thing where toggled to produce settlers, where it just does it automatically.
I doubt it, but you never know.
That would seem kind of overpowered.
Yeah, especially as an age 3 bonus, you know?
Yeah. Where all your haciendas just start spitting out settlers on top of new ones being trained, generating 3.
Yeah. And then Sinaloa has a card that is very reminiscent of the Lakota's 15 bison card they have, where you get 15 deer and 1 collection of fish on your fishing boats. So
Large, well, yeah, okay.
So yeah, it's like super 15 bison, but only if you're water booming. And it looks like the other card in the center there is also centered towards water. So
that looks like a galleon or something, probably.
Yeah. So that looks like it's going to be your water thing.
Yeah.
So this picture is the person just revolted, and in the video, when they revolted, their top right actively increased from age 4 to age 5, which I thought was really interesting. It is my theory. That's why I circled the top right with the Imperial Age, because normally when you revolt, you don't actually go into the Imperial Age.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is that if you choose to revolt to age 5, you can't go back to normal Mexico. And you can see in the top left, that is actually Texas they revolted to. United States thing, which is actually a United States age 5. The age 5 federal state you can add to the Union. So you could have a United States player and a Mexico player, and both of them could end up as Texas.
Can you imagine? The Battle of the Texans.
Now, I also circled the bottom left, because what I also noticed in the video is that as soon as this player revolted to Texas, they lost their ability to produce settlers, which I find interesting.
That's pretty normal for a revolution, though.
Yeah, but you're still able to train revolutionaries from your town center.
Oh, that's right. You can't even do that.
Also, I didn't catch it in this screenshot, but if you go to Texas, I did notice in the video, all of your settlers turn into volunteers instead of revolutionaries. Volunteers being the age 4 upgrade for state militia for the United States.
What do you think that building is in the top?
They actually show that off. I was going to get to that later. It's a cathedral.
Okay.
It's their version of a church.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty looking building.
It is a very pretty looking building. So this is a close-up picture of the Haciendas, the estate / mill / it's an estate / mill / livestock pen / outpost / military building / town center.
Interestingly, it does have a ton of villagers on it.
I did notice that too.
The Ethiopians can only have 3 on theirs. The native civs can, I believe, they can still have 10 on there.
I do believe that in this picture, in the video, at least in this picture right here, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I count 11 in this picture right here, and that doesn't capture the full thing. Maybe you can have up to 15 on these. I don't know.
beginning to sound really overpowered. Beginning to sound really overpowered. Not gonna lie to you.
So the cathedral that Chase was looking at, that Chase pointed out earlier, is a unique building. It is an expensive building. It's as stated by the overview. And what it does is it functions like a church where you can get your healers and you can get your spies and you can get like your normal church upgrades. But it also has a couple unique upgrades that are totally free. And I did kind of find out that this is kind of their version of the state capital, because you can see that state religion at the top, which is exactly the same upgrade and the same cost as the United States statehood. But the other two upgrades are totally free, but you have to time them. Now, weirdly enough, there's only two of them, which is kind of weird that they would make a whole big video on them. So I am assuming that just like with the United States, you're able to send a card to get one of these in the second age and perhaps get your federal age up for free. And there's also going to be likely cards that add more unique free upgrades, like a unique church card. That's obviously going to be a thing. Right?
So there's also going to be a cap on the number of like at Visit of the Seven Houses, there's going to be a cap on the amount of insurgentes that you can send.
Possibly.
Because it says delivers 17 versus, shipping a free insurgente for every building you own.
Right, because the insinuation, it's telling you that you have 17 buildings.
Yes. So there probably will be a cap, especially since walls count as buildings, I think.
No, they don't count as buildings in the building count during the timeline, so I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
And then the other one is grants plus 5 XP for every unit you have lost so far this game. That's pretty cool to throw in at like the end of the 4th age after everybody's lost massive armies. Just be like, hey, free shipment, woo!
Or, free 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
So here are revolutions. On the left, you can see in the top right of the picture the age that the person is in. On the left, you can see the 2 revolutions that you get in the Commerce Age, and on the right, you see the 2 revolutions you get in the Fortress Age. We unfortunately don't get to see what the revolutions are in the Industrial Age, but we know one of them is Texas.
Dragoons and artillery.
But the H2 ones cost 250 of each resource. The H3 ones cost 500. But Central America, the first one on the left, is pretty interesting to me. So it's 250 of each resource, and it's revolutionaries do not replace settlers but can be trained at the barracks. And then it enables the barracks H3 upgrades and also enables the dragoons and artillery foundry. And it can return to Mexico. So it's kind of like a light, cheaper age to age 3, where you get all of your like age 3 techs, but you don't get any of the cards that you would have for going to age 3. So in exchange for making it cheaper, you can get just the techs but none of the cards, which I think is kind of neat.
Do you think that replaces the cards that you have in your deck?
It does switch to a revolt deck, yes. It does switch to a revolt deck. But then you can also switch it back to Mexico. So I think this is like an interesting, like an extended Age 2 play that might bite you in the ass later when you have to reallocate your resources again to age up.
Well, especially if you send this early on, you lose access to all your Age 2 cards, your upgrade cards and whatnot, and maybe you need some coin, and who knows what the Central America revolt cards are. Mm-hmm. If they're better than what you get. It's definitely an interesting thing. The whole returning to Mexico thing is it's fascinating. It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out with all the new. And there's a bunch of new mechanics that are being introduced, it would appear, with this patch.
So over with Baja California to me is the weirdest revolt that Mexico has, and I will explain why in a little bit. Settlers become filibusters, which I'm not sure what those are. We haven't been introduced to them yet, which can also be trained for gold, and all military buildings become saloons.
Mm.
Which
have a coin trickle.
They do have a coin trickle. That's very true. This one is kind of weird to me because you're going to need a lot of coin if you're going to be training outlaws and stuff out of saloons, but you're not able to get a lot of coin when all of your settlers become military units. So, and on top of that, we don't know whether or not they have a card that makes that gives you a lot of population space like Advanced Saloon does for the United States.
Well, we don't even know what filibusters are.
We don't know what filibusters are.
We don't know if they're military or if they're like a villager type unit that.
And this is like the dedicated. It seems to be like the dedicated. I'm going with outlaws age up, but it also doesn't seem great if I'm honest, because that's a big resource investment that you're gonna need that you're gonna have to do very early if you want to get outlaws on the field fast.
And interestingly enough, there's no text saying that you can return to Mexico.
That was what I was going to mention. The thing that makes it the weirdest one for me is it's lacking what every single other age up has for the revolt, except for Texas. We know Texas doesn't have a return to Mexico because it wasn't an option at the town center. But yeah, I don't know if you're going to stay as Baja California and you're able to still age to 3 as Baja California. I don't know. It's really, really weird. So that's just going to have to be something we wait and see and find out. Over to the Fortress Age ones. We see Yucatan. Settlers become revolutionaries. The insurgentes are upgraded to Yucateco insurgents, which we don't know what those are. Perhaps it's just the elite version of them. I don't know. Can return to Mexico or revolt again. So when I read this, I kind of got a chuckle. So that gives me the idea of you can technically revolt to Yucatan and then revolt to Rio Grande afterwards if you really want to.
Or maybe that revolt gives you access to age 4
perhaps
revolutions.
We don't know. It's interesting. I have no idea, but
There's
that sounds like a very
lot of testing going on.
That's going to be
that much.
A very fun one to test out, I think. Rio Grande is settlers become revolutionaries, heavy infantry and militia movement speed increased, and then can return to Mexico. So I don't know whether or not this is permanent or if it's only tied to while you have the revolt. But if so, that seems like you could just spend 1,500 resources, revolt, get the speed boost for all of your military units, and then immediately revert right back, which is kind of funny to me. I don't know how easy that would be to do when you're in the third age, but, whatever.
And we don't know how much it costs
to come back.
Return to Mexico.
Maybe it's free.
Which could be adverse. Or it could prevent you doing things like that, especially with the cards that you get. The cards you get by revolting may incentivize staying as a revolt versus returning to Mexico.
Yeah, that's also very true. So then we don't actually get to see the Age 4 revolts. All we know is that Texas is one of them, and we do in fact get to see the Texas deck, which which they showed off, I think, like 8 or 9 of the different cards, just scrolling past really quickly, and I had to micro pause each one, playing at like 0.25 speed to get all these screenshots. But I got a little sad when I was reading some of these cards. So first off, they have Texan Forts and the Alamo, which are the 2 age-up cards that you get for going to Texas with United States for your age 5, which costs 8,000 resources, and for Mexico it costs 3,000.
Interesting that they have all these different. The Revolution deck has a ton of cards in each age.
Mm-hmm. Which it actually doesn't matter. I think it was just for the sake of organization, because you can't go to Texas until you're age 5 anyways, or age
Yeah.
4 to age 4 into
And you
age
do
5.
get a factory shipment, which is nice.
So something that so the Texan forts, it basically turns all your forts into dojos or summer palaces, and the Alamo makes it so that your forts and outposts spawn Minutemen when they're destroyed. Not particularly amazing shipments, but the next picture is really sad because in addition to getting both of the United States Texas age ups, they also get the United States card that you get we're going to age 5 with Illinois, where you get Land of Lincoln, where you get the 70 range flag and enable it to do hit points as well as damage. So, fuck you. For 3,000 resources, Mexico can get 3 cards that they can get 3 cards from 2 different states in United States is age 5. Just bullshit. It's fine.
Seems kind of half baked, to be honest. Oh yeah, we'll give Mexico the same abilities. Why not?
Yeah, especially because United States can't even get this card right here with the 2 Texas cards, but Mexico can. Whatever. They also, I put Texas Marines down here. I don't know what kind of order I did. So Texas Marines is a card that's really cool. So it all at once gives the upgrade. It gives the upgrades that you get for the cards Marines as well as Minutemen companies, and then activates the Levy Minutemen ability where it's on a cooldown like it is with the United States. So all in one card in the 5th age, you get the full Marines ability and the ability to levy 16 of them, just like the United States. But it's not something you have access to until you're in age 5, so that kind of balances it out. Because the United States can do full-on rushes and pushes with it. You know?
That's true.
They also have the U.S. Army card at the top, which is another boost to your Marines, which is funny to me. We have Gonzalez guns, which makes each existing fort and town center spawn a Napoleon gun. Remember, your explorer can build a fort, and there is an infinite fort card in this deck.
There is. Look at that. It's like Russians, how you can essentially get infinite forts.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure every revolt in the game gives you infinite forts.
That's true.
We see Texas statehood here. So this is the state capital wagon that the United States have. It's the only way they can get it because it enables it to be built. Enables the state capital enabled, and then it also gives you the option to obtain several of the United States capital upgrades, including Oregon Trail, the one that reduces the one that reduces wagon costs, and then the ability to make wagons, which the church which their super church cannot do. But unlike the Age 2 card that United States has, the Virginia General Assembly, it doesn't make any of the upgrades free. So this is an Age 5 card that is technically worse than an Age 2 card United States has.
But they have other benefits as well that the United States doesn't have.
No, every single one of these here can be made with the United States.
No, but like as a civilization, they get bonuses.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I did notice in the pictures though that they don't have Gatling guns like United States has. They have normal falconets. The old 300 ships a Hacienda wagon and then 1 settler for each house that you own. So that's up to 20 settler. That's up to a 20 settler shipment right there, which is pretty crazy. But it's one of those things where you're in the Imperial Age, technically, quote unquote. If you need a 20 settler shipments, if you are not already capped, then you're probably behind.
Yeah, that's true. And in reading this, I don't think the Haciendas produce settlers for free because it doesn't say it does like it does the other stuff.
Then here, in case you missed it, with the other federal age up, here is the exact same card that you have an option to with this revolt, where you can get the ranged attack on the Hacienda when the settlers are garrisoned inside of them. It's the same one as that age up card we took a look at in the second age, I think.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Which is interesting because you don't necessarily miss out on that card by not going with that age up, because then you could just revolt to Texas and get that card again.
So this next card was interesting when I took a look at it. So it ships a Hacienda wagon and a settler wagon. Oh wait, no, this is a different one. Wait, I already did that one. What the hell? Huh. Okay, so I accidentally put in this picture twice instead of the Navy's card, but the Navy card right next to the Marines at the bottom, it increases their ships, which they actually have the same ships as the United States. It increases the combat power of their ships, but then it says, interestingly enough, that it enables the Imperial upgrades for them, which then makes me think, oh, so that's how this works. In exchange for aging to age 5 with a revolt for cheaper and getting all these extra shipments, in exchange, your age 5 Imperial upgrades for all your units are locked behind shipments. So that's how they balance that out. You can get to age 5, but it doesn't matter because you won't get any of the benefits from age 5 until you send the shipment that enables you to buy them.
And that's for all age 5 shipments, not just the naval ones?
I don't know if any of the other military units are like that, but that would be my guess if we saw that for ships.
That is very interesting.
And that is the end of all the pictures I took.
So here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. This is great. New civilization gets more people interested in the game. But what's the point in having a what you're doing by having Mexico as a now playable civ is you're removing revolutions from other.
No, not necessarily. The Brits can still revolt into America, even though America is a playable civ.
Yeah, but why would you do that when you can just play as the United States?
I don't know. Unique benefits. Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
But
No,
basically,
this is exciting though. It's gonna be. I think I'm more excited for this than I am the
African
African
civs. Yeah,
civilization.
I'm way more excited for this. So something I did notice when I was kind of looking over the age up cards here that we have access to and that we see is that none of the age up cards seem to be that super good. Like, I think what they did with Mexico is they toned down the federal state aspect of it that you have for the United States, so that they could tone up the revolt mechanics and try to make you really play around that. Right? Because with the United States, you have things like Virginia Plan, which is a shipment that gives you 2 more shipments, which is obviously like the best shipment in the game. You have the Age 3 Factory, you have Culpeper and Minutemen, you have all of these federal age ups that are very much so desirable and integral to your strategies, and from not a single one of these 7 age up cards that we have seen would be a card that I would specifically design a strategy around. They're more like added bonuses, more like normal cards than anything
And that
else.
is interesting to say too, because revolts have been a part of the game for a long time. But what percentage of games do you play that a player revolts in? It's not high. Maybe 1 in 10 games that someone revolts, and it might be Dutch as revolting into South Africa, or it was Spain revolting into Argentina. That was like it. And they nerfed the Argentinian revolt for Spain.
So yeah, it looks
But
like
even then, Dutch players don't revolt that much. So I think that is a good point. I think they're trying to encourage more revolutions just to get that mechanic more play in game for whatever reason.
I'm guessing that the only reason they even have the federal state age up mechanic is that it matches United States in being the North America civilizations, the New World civs,
That does make sense.
But they, as far as I can tell from what I have seen personally in what they have shown us, it seems like they have really toned down the federal states for the sake of making the revolts the desirable choice.
I'm okay with that.
Me too. I like it. New, unique mechanics. It gives it its own identity separate from United States, other than just United States, but better.
Agreed.
Because it needs its own unique identity. It can't just be other United States,
South United States.
South United States. So
Cool.
that is it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. I'll see you next time.
Smash that like button, baby.
Please don't smash your keyboard. That's a terrible idea.
Just click. Just click.
Just click.